Most likely, if you're watching this video, you clicked on it intentionally because of the subject matter. We're talking about me getting set up here in this last neglected corner of Chris's Granite Paradise for a shed where my stuff can go so that I can do business in that shed. I want to have a saw and be able to make bowls and other things with rocks. So in the first video of the group, we got it to where you could walk back here. We cut down the sunflowers, and basically that's about as far as we got, I think. Oh, and we moved the pile of stone that was here. That's right. All that over there. How could I forget? It was so much fun. Anyway, you can see the original floor I had mentioned is starting to appear. I cleaned all the leaves out, and I remember this now. The neighbor's dirt is about 4 or 5 inches higher than my dirt, and I remember because I dug all this out to get it level because it was high here and low here, and I could see this neighbor is the same way. Her dirt's a little higher. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to I have more of these landscape beams. The people we bought the house from left quite a few of those here, and I put them along this fence. I still have a few more, so I will put them along here and basically fill the dirt up to those. Maybe not all the way, but just to keep the dirt from really touching the fence much, because of course water rots wood. And these fences are all only held up by plants and my sculptures. I put that sculpture there for the purpose of holding a fence up. You know, it's probably a $15,000 deal. Even if I do it myself, it would be pretty expensive. And it's not a high priority because these fences look nice. I like the rustic wood. So if we can milk them for another 10 years, that's what we intend to do. So anyway, I will build the platform of my shed here. I think that platform is going to use most of this dirt. If I have a little left, that would be great because I always need dirt. I'll put it somewhere else. Also, what I'm doing today, and I don't know if you can tell from the video, but so this pathway, if you saw in the first video, it kind of snakes a little bit, just like that part still does. And I'm trying to get a straight line here. So I replaced this stone. I've got plenty of extras, so I took the stone that was here was much bigger, replaced it, moved all these over, got them in a straight line, and I'm going to continue doing that, at least as far as the sculpture and that bench over there, because I want as much space available to me. So far I can get a 5-foot shed back here. It would be tight. The 5 feet would come about to where my hand is. So I don't know that I want to do that. I might go with the 4 foot. But either way, I want a straight line here. These that I've worked on, I've already raised up. I don't know if you can tell. They're a little higher than the others. Probably not showing much in the video. But anyway, I'm raising them up. And then what I'll do is I'll spread this dirt out after I take up the floor. And have the dirt level with the top of that pathway. And then I'll put the granite floor back. I want to make sure the shed is high enough that it never gets water in it. And then the shed's going to sit on a wooden platform, which will in turn sit on the granite floor here. So that should keep it mobile when the day comes and we want to replace the fence. The packaging on the shed I'm looking at said it weighs 176 pounds. Just a metal shed. Doesn't have to be anything fancy. And so I'm thinking two of us can probably just lift it up and move it over if we need to. Obviously take the stuff out of it. This portion of the path I have straightened out and raised. And I'm going to just film myself moving this stone over so you guys know what I'm talking about without showing you the whole agonizing process. But here I can really noticeably feel how the ground has sunk down here. Remember I told you we live near the river, so there are probably underground channels of water. I'm not sure if that's what's going on, but this sculpture has sunken noticeably. And so I'm getting this all level. I need to move this bench over that way, which I'll do a time lapse of. But this area needs quite a bit of dirt to fill in. Okay, so the process of moving my pathways around really isn't too hard. There's actually weed mat installed under all this, and this gravel's been here for a while, so this is good that I'm doing this because it's going to make everything look so much cleaner, because there's 15 years or so of debris piled up here, so this really needs to be done anyway. And get the gravel out of the way. Sometimes it's hard to get these pried up. There we go. So in this case, I don't care about the ground here because I'm putting more dirt on top of it anyway. It's like this is really high here, this is really low. It really sunk where the sculpture is. I'm curious to remember how much of the sculpture is underground. I bet you 3 or 4 inches of it is underground. So it's gonna look taller when we're done. Plenty of dirt to choose from. I'm not gonna bother removing everything and lifting the weed mat because I don't think it matters. The weed mat really doesn't do much for the weeds anyway. Yeah, as you can see, I have plenty of weeds. But it does the job of keeping the gravel on top of the dirt. That's kind of the main reason. Because otherwise the gravel sinks with time. I used to jump up and down to tamp the dirt down, but I'm getting older now and I can feel it in my knees, so I'm not too fussy about my pathways. Gravity will eventually settle them. So remember, this was about here. I'm sliding it back quite a bit because I want my straight line, as I said. That might be a little too high. I'll move the gravel around later and get it all separated. There's actually different kinds here. It's kind of hard to tell right now, but different kinds of granite. A little bit of light tamping is okay. So there's a full inch or so, inch and a half of difference, but over here the pathway starts to go up again. Right here it's just super low, and probably isn't showing in the camera here, but that dip goes under the sculpture, so lots of work to do. All right, I can't do this one until we have to move this bench over. I do want to say, just looking from here, in theory, I could leave that pathway the way it is, just because the shed's going to end something like here. Even if I do the, what did I say, a 4-foot by 10-foot shed, I've got like 12 feet here, so I've got plenty of space. But I don't like aesthetically, I don't like that sudden jog in the path. I want it to be either a straight line heading over to that path over there, or at least a gentler curve over. So no matter what, I have to move this bench as much as I can towards this other sculpture. That's the next thing that has to be done. We'll do a time lapse of the process of moving this bench that way. I wish it was just a matter of getting a guy and grabbing one end and moving it over, but it's a little more than that, as you'll see. I'm going to try to save this plant because this is some kind of herb. I don't know much about herbs, but it really smells good. I trimmed it just for the sake of being able to get back here because it was huge. Well, we gained probably 6 or 8 inches of space here, and I don't know if you guys noticed, but see, these have a curve on them, and this probably won't be here for very long because I have another sculpture. I think I can get over to it from here. Now that I'm not working in the granite countertop business, I have to really value the material that I have. So this sculpture is built of the same pieces. A larger version and a smaller version. And that bench over there, if you noticed in the time lapse, is made of these. And I have my pile. Remember I told you guys in the previous video of this series of videos about my shed, I have what I consider collection pieces, which are what I consider exotic, or for whatever reason I just want to hang on to them. But they're useless to me at this point, and they take up space. So what I intend on doing is taking this bench apart and rebuilding it out of my collection pieces, because that's a good place for them to be. They'll be out of the way. Nobody really pays too much attention to the bottom of this bench and it really won't look bad because most of those are cut nice and symmetrical with a curve, and then these pieces will be combined into the sculpture I just showed you. But for now, this is what it is. Now I can proceed to move these over. I can't move them all the way over just because there's not enough room, but it'll just be a much gentler swerve over to the left there. And it gives you more space to walk by in the unlikely event that I don't rebuild this sculpture. At least now there's space there to walk through, whereas there really wasn't before. It was kind of tight. You can see the pathway is actually under the sculpture just because of how tight this corner is here. But now I've got room. I'm going to adjust and we'll take it from there. Well, I think we have reached our goal for this video. I was looking at the length in my editing app and it's already quite long, so I think I'll stop here. The pathway is done. It's all been raised. You can see we have a lot more room to walk through here now because we moved the bench over 6 inches, 8 inches, something like that. I got down on my hands and knees and looked for the base of this sculpture, and it's actually where it should be. This really hasn't sunk as much as I thought. It's probably sunken an inch or so, but nothing alarming. So I just put the gravel back. These are all about an inch higher than they were. They're in a straight line. and the curve here is a gentle curve instead of how I was showing you earlier in the video. And that's what I wanted to obtain. I think at some point in the future I'm going to move this stone over, because now it'll butt up nice against the movement I just did. But that's not in the way nor part of the shed project, so that'll be left for the future. There's the floor. Next video we'll get that floor up and start spreading this dirt out, and then we'll get the floor up that's under the dirt and get it all level, put the floor, and we're getting close. We're actually making good progress. Thanks so much for following along. By all means, like and share and subscribe and leave comments, all that good YouTube stuff. It really helps us out. And we will see you on the next one, Lord willing. We're getting ever closer to the goal. God bless you.